Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the CandlePower Hour, Keys to the City. It's our new little thing we're doing. Keys to the City is good people doing good things. And we've got an amazing guest here. Todd Barton is here with us, and his wife, Laura, will be joining us shortly.
Yes.
Todd's an amazing television producer who has a nice history. And we go back a heck of a long way to the 90s, and we began with executive producer Woody Fraser. At least I did, and that's where I met Todd. And we've had some incredible experiences, and we're going to talk about them right here. So, Todd Barton, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Diego.
Hey, really man, it's an honor. It's an honor because it's been a long time since we've seen each other, since we've connected. And the last thing I remember is signing off on the great Home and Family show at Universal Studios.
Yep,
we were
on the Hill.
We were on the Hill for 2 years doing live television, and it was one of the wackiest shows we've ever done and some of the best days of my life. So
I agree. So 2 hours live every day, 10 hours a week of live television is a lot of TV.
It was mayhem. It was chaotic, and I want to talk about Woody Fraser because he was our boss, and I guess it's a good way to start this conversation is to pay tribute to Woody Fraser, who has recently passed away. So tell us a little bit about where you got started, Todd, and let's talk about Woody.
The funny thing is, the first show I remember working on, I was a page for ABC for a while, which was great. I got to work on the Academy Awards 5 years in a row. I walked in on the red carpet with Al Pacino the night he won the Academy Award for The Scent of a Woman. And the next day, there was me in the paper like this, right next to Al Pacino. They weren't taking my picture, but it was great. Nice. I got, calls from friends and say, hey, we saw you in the paper. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about when you work the Academy Awards, I got signed certain talent. Al Pacino 1 year, David Letterman 1 year, John Travolta 1 year, and they're actors, so they get fed lines and they know what to say. So Al Pacino, when he was walking the red carpet, he's like, "Listen, just push me through this. I don't want to have to stop and do interviews. I just want to get into my seat." So we just rushed him through, got him in, and then and I was really young at the time. And he's like, let's go grab a drink. And so, he was my talent. So I went down with him. And who comes up but Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer, Al Pacino, and Todd Barton all standing at the bar.
That is awesome.
Right. So I was like, it was amazing. It was like I was a young kid. I was like, this was like, oh, my God, the greatest thing ever. So anyway, so I did that. And then,
Well, no, hold on. Where did you come from? What city are you originally from?
I grew up in Florida. Went to school in New York, Syracuse. When I graduated, I drove a van cross country towing Toyota with a buddy of mine and his girlfriend at the time, now wife, and we drove cross country for a week. I came out here through Costco. I worked at Costco, transferred to a warehouse, got a job on the Home Show, the original Home Show, with Woody Fraser, and I worked 5 days a week at the Home Show. At the time, I was making $50 a day. And then I worked weekends at Costco. And I made about as much money at Costco as I did during the week. But still, I was working at TV and doing the Home Show. And the first, I was a runner, of course. And I don't know if, people know what a runner is, but it's basically a PA. You do all the grunt work and whatnot. And I slowly got promoted to scripts and moved my way up.
Nice.
But I remember being in the booth one day, just hearing this guy just going off on people, telling them what to do, where to go, what to this. And I'm like, well, why is that guy? They're like, oh, that's Woody. He's the executive producer. And I was like, that was my first, experience with Woody. Just, but, Woody could be loud, but if he was a television, and I don't use this word loosely, but he was a TV genius. I mean, the guy he created That's Incredible. He created Good Morning. He was one of the creators of Good Morning America. He, Real People, The Home Show. He had a show on after The Home Show called Ultimate Revenge which Ryan Seacrest hosted, and Ryan Seacrest also hosted Wild Animal Games for him, which you worked on with the.
We were on that.
Cue the
now
effing monkey.
You were a kid, and you came to Hollywood, and all of a sudden you ended up next to Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, and Michelle Pfeiffer sitting at a bar.
Yeah, standing at the bar downstairs, because they had a bar for the town, and Al Pacino didn't want to be left alone. So, because he wasn't used to where to go and where to sit.
Sure.
So I just followed him. I put him in his seat, and then the pages were basically when he had to speak or one of my talent had to speak, I'd go pull them out of their chair during the commercial break, bring them backstage. They would do their thing. Then I'd bring them back to their seat. And that was it. That's what we did for the Academy Awards. But it was a blast because I had backstage pass. I could go anywhere I wanted.
That's the gig of a lifetime.
One year, I had to walk Sophia Loren backstage. Wow. And she didn't get out in time for the commercial break. So we had to go out a different door. So I had to walk a whole U, like around the stage with Sophia Loren. And she put her arm around me and was like, and I was like, I didn't, it's Sophia Loren. And everybody's looking at me like, oh, look at that guy walking with Sophia Loren. Like, it was fun, but,
right.
And then,
did you get that gig through the home show?
No. That was before the home show. I just applied at ABC and, cause they needed pages and it was like,
that's pretty cool.
We worked on some other shows on the lot over on Radford back in no, not Radford, the old ABC lot. I forget where.
Prospect.
Prospect, yes.
Yeah,
on Prospect. So, but yeah, and I'll tell you very quick.
Well, cool. Back to Woody though.
No, Woody was great. I mean, he was just amazing. And after the home show, I went and did some stuff, and then Woody created a game show called Family Challenge and Wild Animal Games. And, they shot on the same stage or next to each other. Right. And, Wild Animal Games. Crazy. But Woody was he did talk shows. He did game shows. He did, reality wasn't what reality is today, but he did some reality stuff. And, if you talk to certain people in the business, Woody was a genius. And, spanning
he was
40
a genius.
Years, incredible. He could direct, he could write, he could light, he did everything. And he was always, one of the things I remember him telling me, he's like, listen, I don't care how good it is on stage. If your director can't see it, it doesn't matter because then the people can't see it. You got to make sure your director can see it. So
I like that.
He taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about what to do, what not to do, how to produce from the floor per se, how to produce from the booth. He could do it all. He was an amazing person. And I'm lucky.
I will say that being a part of the Home and Family Show, being a part of Wild Animal Games, Family Challenge, I go with Woody all the way back to the Susan Powder Show.
I did the Susan Powder show as well. I did the teleprompter for Susan Powder.
Awesome. That was my first gig actually with Woody on the lighting crew with Craig Chaddock, God rest his soul.
Craig.
And also learning from Woody, actually, like you said, him being on the floor, doing live television, watching him produce and have that all-seeing eye like a hawk.
Yeah, he was
knowing
amazing.
Everything about television. And I want to give a shout out to Jim Whitty, who also taught me a lot. Yep. And those two executive producers were a very big part of my coming up. And I also want to say, from the Wild Animal Games story, you have a pretty amazing Ryan Seacrest story.
Well, here's the thing. Ryan Seacrest is huge now. But back in the day, the first time I met Ryan, he was 19, and he was hosting a show called Gladiators 2000. It was a kid's version of American Gladiators.
All right.
And I was the booth PA on Gladiators 2000.
And that was another Woody show?
No, Gladiators was not a Woody show.
Okay.
But when I finished that, I started doing Family Challenge. And Marty Tenney, who you talked about, was the EP of Wild Animal Games, they were having a tough time finding a host. So I said to him, I go, have you ever heard of Ryan Seacrest? And at the time, he's like, no, I never heard of Ryan. Who's Ryan Seacrest? So I was like, I called Ryan and said, hey, what's your agent's number? Gave me his agent's number. I put him in contact with Marty, the EP. They got together. He auditioned, I guess, for Woody and Marty. And the rest is history. He got the job. And then he went on to do another show for Woody called Ultimate Revenge, where it was like you would prank, or if I pranked you, Diego, you would get me back. Woody would set something up, so you would get ultimate revenge on me. And Ryan was the host. So, yeah. So, and now we all know where Ryan is. So
we all do. And I've been very fortunate enough to have spent many years together with him on American Idol, sort of following his career.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Wild Animal Games is that Ryan Seacrest had a co-host, and his name was Eddie, and he was a chimpanzee.
Yeah, in Wild Animal Games.
And that was chaotic, because trying to get Ryan Seacrest and a chimp to interact with each other as hosts was comedy in itself.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
and it was out of fucking control comedy. And, you know, as you recall, there was the rap party, and there was the T-shirt at the end of the run, because the director had such a horrible time with the chimp. The back of the shirt. What did the back of the shirt say?
Cue the effing monkey.
Cue the effing monkey. It said cue the fucking monkey, because it was, you couldn't cue a monkey.
No, of course not. But let me tell you, they say there are two things you shouldn't work with: kids and animals. And Woody put them together. And, you know, the one thing I remember at Wild Animal Games was the day that it was at Wild Animal Games was a kid show, right? I'm just, so we know, but, and, you know, kids competed, and there was always an animal in the segment. So Woody, in his, you know, wonderful ways, we had a giant elephant.
I remember that
one day, and the kids put whipped cream on the elephant. This was part of the game. And then later in the day, there was the bee guy, like thousands of bees. So we all got this thing, like, stay indoors. The bees are loose, and they're stinging the elephant because of the whipped cream and stuff. That was it was just nuts.
It was a bearded man, a man with a beard of bees.
Yes.
And it was 20. Bees. He was 20 feet away from an elephant that was fully whipped creamed for a game.
Yes.
And the bees went from the guy's beard straight to the elephant.
Yes. This is so crazy.
That's reality television.
Right.
So, you know,
crazy.
Hats off to Woody Fraser. You know, it's amazing. So, you know, we did that run.
I miss doing the live TV.
Yeah.
Live television is the best.
Well, that's where I started. First live television for me was the Home and Family show that we did at Universal Studios. And that was an amazing, amazing experience with Christina Ferrari as the host. Chuck Woolery was the first season's host. It was chaotic live television in a house, inside, outside, in the garden.
Oh, we did everything.
A deck.
We did everything.
We did everything. My band played.
Yes.
And my band played, and the minute we started jamming, the North Hollywood bank robbery broke out. So we were preempted for a national event. And the rest is not history. We were going to make it big.
But that was the great thing about Woody. He would try anything. Woody would do anything and see.
Innovator.
Let's see, you know, let's see how it works. I mean, we shot in an actual running house. We had people live there. You remember people came and lived as a, you know, for 2 weeks. Woody had them come in and live. And
I remember that.
It was amazing. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
The comedy, the camaraderie, the crew was just amazing. And they were indeed like the best 2 years of my life as far as television goes. It was fantastic.
We became a family. I mean,
we
did. It was, you know, and it's like, you know, although you haven't seen each other in so many years, it's still you. As soon as you know, see each other again, it's like you catch up immediately. And you're the old stick.
There's a lot of good people have come out of that world, and I do see them a lot in television. So he did launch a lot of careers. So my hat's off to Woody Fraser. My hair's growing out. I'm not wearing a hat, but hey, Woody Fraser, rest in peace. Thank you for an amazing career, Woody. Appreciate it.
Me too.
Todd, after Home and Family, what did you end up? Where'd you head to? I've
been very lucky, and I've done a lot of different things. I've done game shows. I've done kid shows. One of the kid shows I did years ago was Kids Say the Darndest Things, which is a blast. And to be honest, kids really do say the darndest things. And I'll quickly give you a couple stories about, things I remember that happened that the way you got on the show was very difficult to get on Kids Say the Darndest Thing as a kid. We would see like 10,000 kids to get like 30. And I was in a school every day talking to like 20 kids. They'd come in, I'd interview them. 20 more kids would come in, I'd interview them. So, and then once you got a kid that you liked, you'd put them in front of the executive producers. So there was one kid who we were talking to, and, you'd go in different areas of, what do you think the Tooth Fairy looks like? Or, who does Santa Claus live with? Or, things kids talk about, whatever. And we got on the conversation of lying. What do you lie to your parents about? And one of the kids, what do you lie? What do you lie? He goes, well, I lie about putting food on my chair. And I look at the camera guy and I'm like, put food on your chair. I'm like, why do you put food on your chair? And Diego, I kid you not, his answer, I like when the dog licks my privates.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, okay, yeah. And okay, right.
I hope he's doing good today.
Yeah, and this was like 20-something years, 25 years ago. So
wow.
Anyway, and then I got one more for you. Like, we really wanted kids that had chutzpah, that they weren't afraid to get. So we're in this meeting, and there's there's a producer and a cameraman, and I wasn't there for this, but someone told me this story, and the producer was a little overweight, and he wasn't getting anywhere with the kids, so he said, asked the cameraman, why don't you try? So the cameraman starts getting going, and he's doing well, and he's talking to this one kid, and he's like, this kid's opening up, and he's funny, and this and that, and they start talking about girlfriends, and so the producer, now feeling comfortable with the kids talking, he jumps in, he's like, so are you going to marry this girl? And the kid, deadpan, looks at the guy and goes, what's it to you, fat boy? Let me tell you, the producer, he hit the camera and goes, interview over. Oh, so.
Did he get the gig?
No. The kid didn't get on the show. But I mean, there's many. We had some. That was one of the best shows I ever worked on. Just so much fun dealing with the kids. I've done game shows. I did a game show with Chuck Woolery on Game Show Network called Lingo, which was a lot of fun. I did, another kid show with Heidi Klum, which was a lot of fun. I did a prank show with Howie Mandel, which Howie's the best. He is one of the greatest people. Unbelievably nice. Unbelievably nice. He has all the talent in the world. He has no he has no filter. First of all, he'll say and do anything, and he's hilarious. And to work for him, he's very loyal. He's just a great guy. It was like, what a great experience to work for him. And he's an amazing person. So I really enjoyed working for him.
Nice, very nice. You also did a show called World's Funniest Weather.
Yeah, I just finished doing the World's Funniest Weather. We did 5 seasons, 100 episodes. It was syndicated throughout the country. Basically, it was America's Funniest Videos, but we took it and wrapped everything around weather. So it was all user-generated content, pratfalls, people slipping, people on the ice, people
nice.
Kind of like America's Funniest Videos, but we wrapped everything around weather. And then what we were different with, we had news bloopers. So if a newscaster messed up on live TV and the station would license it to us, we would air news clips as well. So
that's kind of what I thought it could be too. Just like hilarious weather reports that sort of go awry.
Oh, no, and there are plenty of those. The problem is a lot of the stations won't license them to them because they don't like for their anchors to look
right. They don't get the humor of it. They should roll with it.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
We did a show a long time ago where it was a talent show and there was a traveling auditions, and so This was before American Idol. It was actually called Pop Stars.
Yeah.
But we did some auditions up in San Francisco, and these two kids showed up for the auditions dressed in Mexican blankets, hats. They had maracas, and I knew it was going to be a hilarious performance or audition. The producers didn't even let them through the door. And I was just like, you gotta let them audition.
Why?
This could be golden. But
why didn't
they just didn't want they didn't want to go there. You know, they didn't. I guess they didn't see what American Idol saw. You know, a couple years later, or the shows. You know, you just got to find the humor in people.
I mean, the Gong Show started it. I mean, and then Star Search was there, and then
you got to have the comedy element. You gotta let it go. So well, that's pretty awesome. And you know what, the world is changing. The entertainment industry is changing incredibly. Just ask me. And so, you guys have a new venture going. You and your family.
I'll bring in.
Let's bring in wife, Laura. Laura, welcome to the show. Laura, thank you very much. Hi, Laura. Welcome to the show. This is Laura.
Laura and I met in college. We've been married for 26 years. We've been together for 36 years.
Tell all those numbers.
Okay. We're actually 25 and 26. We have 3 beautiful daughters.
Awesome.
And like any family, we've seen the ups and downs of mental health. And, mental health is very important to us. It's been very important to us for many years. It all started way back when my dad actually gave Laura a book called Your Erroneous Zones, which was written by Wayne Dyer, who was way ahead of his time, mental health guy. And you can look him up on Google. He's amazing. And mental health has always been important to us. And our youngest daughter, we try to pass that on to our kids, of course. And our youngest daughter, when she was in high school, came up with this idea about how to help kids with tools to help them with their mental health, which we turned into and inspired us to start a company called Apple Affirmations, which we are now, we put together like care packages of mental health tools that kids can use to release anxiety, stress, and they're all scientifically proven to help. So I'll let if you want to add to that.
Fill us in a little more.
Huh?
Fill us in a little bit more, Laura.
Yeah. Well, essentially, they are, like Todd said, they are wellness boxes. They are for high school and college.
I love it.
And they are packed with anywhere from like 6 to 8 items, like hand-curated items that are basically backed with research to help, like Todd said, to alleviate stress and anxiety, and just help them feel better, right, and change their energy.
We're not saying we're gonna cure the mental health, but these are tools that actually, if you're feeling anxiety, grab like some Play-Doh and play with it, because it reduces stress and it reduces anxiety and it promotes relaxation. So one of the things in the box is scented Play-Doh. And, we have a deep breathing necklace in there that reminds the kids to take deep breaths, because breathing is so important. It relaxes you. And like, even if you feel stressed, you like just stop for a second and take a deep breath. It centers you and it reduces stress and anxiety. So it's all stuff like that in the box.
Yeah,
that's
things
amazing.
that alleviate stress, things that can address your sleep so you can sleep better, help you think about your breathing and focus on your breathing, things that are like affirmations. Self-talk matters, right? So there are things like affirmation cards, decals that you can put on your mirror and stuff like that remind you of just how great and wonderful you are, right? Because we are each wonderful and amazing beings, and we really forget about it. We get really stressed and filled with anxiety, and all the tools in here just help students pause and kind of regroup.
And we try to, the most important person you need to love is yourself.
Yeah.
That's where, self-love is very, very important. And that's what we're trying to, and listen, if we can help kids out there, yes, it's a business and we want to make money, but we also want to help people. We really do, because we saw what our kids went through. And these things, our kids actually use these things to help them. So that's why we started the business, and hopefully,
Yeah, so it's appleaffirmations.com. That's our website, and essentially the wellness boxes are quarterly, so they're timed to coincide with the first season of the first quarter of the year, the second quarter, and the final seasons, that kind of stuff. So they're quarterly boxes, and they're filled with items to help, basically to empower students, whether they're in high school or college, to really thrive and kind of get control of their life.
That's amazing. It's a noble venture is what you're doing. It's a noble venture.
Thanks, Diego.
And I congratulate you.
Thanks.
That it probably might have had something to do with also the pandemic and kids being out of school, being forced to remain home, the distance from friends, the distance from the playground, and the interactions. So what was it like with the kids during the pandemic with your family, and how did your kids get through this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you take that, but it was stressful for everybody. I mean, but luckily, Laura and I are very positive people. We always try to see, try to impress and see the bright side of every situation. And it's not always easy, and we're not always successful either. But and I think we passed that to the kids. And listen, they still had some, mental health, issues, like,
Yeah, the pandemic was not easy. It wasn't easy for anyone, whether you were an adult or a teen, right? Incredibly hard. But I think one positive thing that came out of it, and it could be because of all the social media that is around, but there is a big awareness of mental health and self-care. So compared to our generation, we weren't told about,
it didn't exist.
Breathing is important. If you just pause and just take some deep breaths for just 60 seconds, you can lower your stress, before you give a presentation in front of your class. Wow, that really would have helped, right?
Yeah.
Taking power poses, these are things that have been in TED Talks and stuff like that. All these types of things really, really do help. And I'd like to think, like I said, that COVID there was a silver lining that, people are now maybe more aware. They became more attuned to self-care. And I think for the younger generation, it's self-care is very prevalent. They make it a priority, whereas for our generation, it was not even a thing, right? So I think this really resonates with Gen Z and the generation after them as well, because they do prioritize their mental health, and they really recognize that they are aware that they're under a lot of stress and anxiety, and they're looking for tools to help them.
It is important because this generation is online. It is digital. It's a digital world. Bullying is online more so than when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
We get bullied
when we were kids, you get bullied. 4 or 5 people heard about it. Now 400 or 500 people hear about
thousands.
it. And you got comments, and kids scroll through, they read those, and it's like
self-esteem.
Oh yeah, self-esteem.
The internet's a self-esteem killer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
oh, for sure.
Even for me, when I post stuff, I'm like, man, I only got 20 likes. Come on. It's an adrenaline, rush. And be like, I like.
I wake up in the morning crushed.
Whoops.
Yes, it's okay. Just leave it. Just drop something.
That's okay. No problem. But I was just kind of joking that it is very prevalent, and
it is.
Kids need to find that self-care. So that's fantastic.
And our tagline is change your energy, change your life.
I love it.
And it's true. And I, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I'm like, all right, change your energy, change your energy.
Yeah.
Change your energy, because you can't go with that negative, and it just eats at you. And we all struggle. I mean, listen, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I struggle with it too, but it's a practice, and you guys got to keep doing it until you.
I am the first person to admit, yes, I am too in therapy. I've begun. It's been an amazing process. It's for me, it was getting through the door and passing the psychiatry sign, which is very important. If you can accept that, and you can say to yourself, I need help. And,
of course,
and
it's okay.
It's there for you.
We all need help.
It's okay.
We all need help.
Yeah. It was it's a big step, and I definitely recommend that.
Good for you.
I appreciate that.
What we're pulling together is something that kind of helps that. So if you're going to therapy, you're seeing a therapist or whatever, the tools that we have in here are actually tools that therapists would suggest you use to help you when you're not, with the therapist, right? They will tell you journal, right? They'll tell you get outside, they'll tell you meditate, breathe, laugh. Right? Laughter. We have our first box has a whoopee cushion because guess what? Flatulence is funny. And as a woman, I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, it is, honey. Yes,
oh my God. But, he said it. And I'm like, you're right. It is. It's funny. Even the Queen of England, even Princess Kate, has flatulence. So, and
I always say that the fart is the first joke.
Yeah.
So it was the first joke of mankind.
Always. I mean, this is like, and shows still do it.
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
I don't know if you were a fan of The Good Place, but the TV show The Good Place, but they had a character on there that constantly was farted, and it was hysterical.
You see? Yeah. Well, that works. And everything positive works. So I really do commend you, Todd and Laura, for what you're doing.
We commend you for going. It's not easy, and it's that's good. Good for you.
Thanks. Yes. Yeah. And again, I recommend it to everybody, and there's a lot of online help now that you can go to, and there's groups, there's even AA is an amazing way to talk to somebody. If you just need to go and sit down and be a part of something, go find an AA meeting, just grab a meeting and you don't have to, it's not about sobering up. It's just being a part of a group that is there for you.
Yes.
Exactly. You know what? Actually, in reality, there is a shortage of therapists, right? There really, really is. So it's finding any type of online tools and groups and forums like that are really, really helpful.
It's very helpful.
Tools like you'll find in the Apple Affirmations box as well. That stuff is
Apple Affirmations is perfect combination with therapy and with hospitals, and I also feel that it's also hopefully for older and younger folks too. For the students, sure, but as you grow. I know there's a lot of factory people and a lot of workers who would love to get a box and a whoopee cushion. So eventually, so Todd and Laura, I want to thank you for coming on this show, this podcast.
Thanks for having us. This was awesome.
Thank you so much.
It was really
we're having fun. We're growing. We want to be positive. We want to spread love and community. We're all survivors of show business in some way or another. So definitely let's stay in touch. I think we will. And I wish you two the best and your family, and appleaffirmations.com. Everybody go to it.
Thanks, Diego. So, same to you. We wish you the best, my friend.
Thank you. This is the CandlePower Hour, Keys to the City. We're signing off. I do want to give props to Mercury, who is on assignment, Bill Matoyer, Dan Moore, and Electricast.com. We are fueled by Electricast, a great podcasting network. Thank you, everybody. Good night. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace. Thanks, Diego. Peace.
Bye. Sit, Lulu, sit.
Powered by
Electricast.